Hi Oxford Terrace, hi everybody else who's watching as well. Nice to see you today. This is the Wednesday update. I get a Bible verse that comes to my phone. I'm not sure how it all works, but anyway, it comes to my phone every day. Today's one, I thought I'd read it to you. I've got my Bible with me and just going to say a couple of things about it. It's from Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16. Let us have confidence then and approach God's throne where there is grace. There we will receive mercy and find grace to help us just when we need it. I have been described as a person who's got ants in my pants, or a little bit too active and not very good at stopping. And sometimes sometimes I get agitated, and this passage is probably quite handy for me to read. It perhaps helps me to take the focus, put the focus in the right direction. There's not much that I can do. Sometimes I like to do things. Makes me feel better. The only thing that this passage is asking me to do is to be confident and to approach God's throne. The confidence and the approach, it's really based on what gets said in the previous couple of verses in Hebrews chapter 4, verses 14 and 15, which are all about God's goodness and God's provision in Jesus. And then we're told, based on that, to have confidence, to approach God's throne. And when we do that, what do we find? The word grace is repeatedly used. Grace is a beautiful gift that comes to us because of what Jesus has done. God's goodness is available to us. It's nothing about us. It's about what God has done. Approach God's throne where there is grace. We will receive mercy and find grace. And then this last line, which I think is pretty beautiful. It will help us, grace to help us, just when we need it. So this is God's word for us today. I'm not sure what your week's like. I'm not sure what's going on for you. Maybe you've got a challenge on your plate and you're not sure what to do. Maybe you can do what I need to do, and that's do less. Sit tight for a minute. Just let that promise from God soak in a little bit, that there is grace just at the right time. It will be there for you, and it's just a little encouragement about what God thinks of us, those of us who've put our trust in Jesus. There's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. I've taken my glasses off because I'm going to look at my whiteboard now, and I don't need my glasses to see off into the distance. I just need them for up close work. I just thought I'd tell you that last weekend the under 30s from church, about 20 of them, had a retreat. They had a really good time, and Julie and I went and visited the retreat. It was down at Peel Forest, and we were really impressed by the sense of community that is being established among our under 30s, and the way they were working together and praying together, and we loved it. We loved watching that, and we loved observing and participating. And Andrew Meek, our assistant minister, is doing a great job leading that group. This coming Sunday, we're back to our usual array of services: 9:30, cup of tea, then 11 o'clock, and then the 2 o'clock service. And all three services, we're focusing for the next 3 weeks on the annual Baptist prayer and self-denial appeal, where we pay attention to what God is doing in a global setting, in terms of our Baptist interests. And we will hear stories. We will pray for our Baptist workers in offshore situations, and we will also raise funds. And the collection will happen on the 9th of August. We'll take a special collection of funds that we're raising for our Baptist work overseas. The 9th of August is an interesting day. It is 157 years to the day since the very first Oxford Terrace or Central Christchurch Baptist service began. The very first worship service that Baptists had in the centre of Christchurch, sort of the precursor or predecessor of Oxford Terrace Baptist Church, was 1863 on the 9th of August. So we'll probably have a birthday cake that day in our worship service. Friday, you'll get a newsletter. You might have noticed last week we've started the newsletter up again in the classic form that we've used in the past. We sort of gave it a rest during lockdown, but we've started it up again, so that's up and running again. And the last thing I want to tell you is Children's Church. Priscilla, our children's worker, very soon she'll be on leave, paternity leave, and we're looking forward to welcoming with Priscilla and Bradley their new baby. But the big news is that Wendy Wooston, she has got many years experience as a children's worker in various Baptist settings. She's going to join us for that period of time that Priscilla's on leave, and she's going to help us with our children's work. And we're just delighted that we've got a really solid proposition, a team together who are going to help us with our children's work over this period. And that's really good. I think it's all I've got to say today. I hope the rest of your week goes well, and look forward to maybe catching up on Sunday over a cup of tea. See ya.